Hey, it is Kenny's Audiophile Record Reviews. Thank you very much for viewing my channel. For those of you new to my channel, if you find this content helpful, please like and subscribe. That will really help my small growing channel out. I really appreciate that. I hope you find this content educational, informative, and maybe a little bit entertaining. But please like and subscribe. That'll help me out. But in this video, I'm going to discuss what I think is the second greatest jazz album ever made. Now, before I get into it, I always say this: we have to keep in mind that these opinions are always personal opinion driven. There's no mandate, there's no right or wrong answer. And we all have to respect our opinions because we all view and hear and listen to jazz and take jazz in differently than others. What you like and enjoy musically could be skewed or different from what I like and enjoy musically. Thus, the differences of opinion. So we have to respect those. Now, I previously did a top 10 jazz album video of all time, and I did a follow-up video where I ranked those albums. Now, I'll try to leave those links to those videos, if I can remember, in the description below. But in that video, the #1 jazz album of all time on my list was John Coltrane's A Love Supreme. This is a UHQR Analog Productions 45 RPM version of the set. A fantabulous sounding album, a great album. That's the greatest jazz album I've heard in my life. Third on my list is Miles Davis, A Love Supreme, the top-selling masterpiece from 1959. Analog Productions produced a 33 1/3 version of the UHQR set. That's what this one is. I also have the 45 RPM version as well. That's third on my list. So you're wondering what is second on my list. This is going to be a controversial pick, but it's my pick nonetheless. And this is one I think is second on my list because I think it's a masterpiece of an album. And that is the 1975 issue of Keith Jarrett, this live improvisational piece called Cone Concert. Issued in 1975. This is a record label, ECM Records. This album was recorded live at the Opera in Cone Concert, in Cone, Germany, I should say, in 1975, January 24th, 1975. Keith Jarrett, before I get to this, talk about this album, is probably my favorite piano player of all time. He's near the top of the list. I mean, there's, Thelonious Monk, Bill Evans, Art Tatum, McCoy Tyner, Ahmad Jamal, Andrew Hill, just to name a few, Chick Corea, Herbie Hancock, Joe Zawinul, who was known for his keyboard playing with Weather Report, but previous to that, he played with Cannonball Adderley Quintet. It was a masterful piano player, in my opinion. And there's many more. And there's many more outside of the realm of jazz. Just because you don't have to be a great piano player and be a jazz piano player. There's great piano players outside of the realm of jazz. Two that come to mind is Peter Nero, who played easy listening music. But he was a master of a piano player. Just because he went that route and played easy listening does not necessarily, he's not on a same level as a Bill Evans. He just played music in a different genre. That brother was a legit Peter Nero. He's one of the greatest jazz, I shouldn't say jazz, one of the greatest piano players ever heard. Another one was Glenn Gould in the classical realm. Those are just some small examples. There's many, many more that I failed to mention. I don't know if I mentioned Horace Silver, but this concert almost did not take place, from what I understand. There was a young lady, she was 17 years old, if I read it right, if I remembered it right. She was a promoter of this concert, and it almost didn't take place because they had the incorrect piano that was piano of Keith Jarrett's liking at the venue. So they had to go to a secondary piano, from what I understand, and try and get that up to spec. The piano was out of tune. It had some mechanical issues, and they tried the best they could to get it in tune and fix it to Keith Jarrett's specifications. But Keith Jarrett almost balked on going forward with this concert. But because of the persistence of this very young lady, I think she was 17-year-old, if I read it right, 17 or 18, the concert went forward. Keith Jarrett also had some moderate back issues that really Eldom as well. So this almost didn't take place. Oh, by the way, at the end of this video, I'm going to show my Keith Jarrett record collection. It's not a lot of records. I'm going to show that at the end of this video. But this is an improvisational work of art by Keith Jarrett. A lot of jazz compositions, you know, they start off with a theme, a musical theme or concept, and they return to that musical theme during the concept at the beginning of solos, at several points in the composition, and they return to that theme periodically during the composition. And there's improvisational works by the solo artist, like a bass player, a trumpet player, or a drummer, in between those musical themes or concepts. Whereas an improvisational work, like Keith Jarrett's Cone Concert, they're improvising on the fly without any preconceived written down musical themes, and that's very tough for a musician to do. I think Keith Jarrett is the greatest improvisational performer that I've ever heard. If you know any others, please leave them in the comment section below. But he's a master at doing those improvisational concerts, and it's very daring and very bold to do that, because you don't know where you're going to go. You don't know how it's going to go. And during this concert, during this performance, the music is so, it really sucks you in. It's so fantastic. It really sucks you into the performance. So instead of returning to a musical theme, and you know the musician's going to go back and play that musical theme, like Take 5 by Dave Brubeck, he doesn't return to musical themes. He just plays something that's really fantastic, and then you're waiting like a great basketball game or sporting event to hear what's going to happen next, because what you heard previous was so fabulous. You're waiting to hear what happens next. And he does that fabulously on this great improvisational work of art. And he just keeps you, interested emotionally, and he really captivates your attention, this improvisational work. Even more so than music that starts off with a preconceived theme or concept, because his playing throughout is just so amazing that you just can't help listening to the whole album. Keith Jarrett Cone Concert, the second greatest jazz album I've ever heard. Is an improvisational work of art. His playing, I think, not only does it draw from jazz, but it draws a little bit from classical. He was a great classical pianist as well. He had that talent, and a little bit of gospel music as well. Some of the stylings on the record. And it's just a fantabulous work of improvisational art. Previous to this album, he played in the 60s with Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers. He played with Charles Lloyd. This is Charles Lloyd album called, I think it's called Forest Flower, which I got to get. I might have it on CD. I don't think I have it on LP. And it's one of the greatest live jazz albums that you can hear. It's called Charles Lloyd Forest Flower. If you haven't heard Forest Flower, listen to it on YouTube. It's a fabulous live jazz record. I think it was at the Montreux Jazz Festival. I'm not sure. But that featured Keith Jarrett as well. In the early 70s, he played with some of the Miles Davis, some of his more electric bands of the early 70s. He played the electric piano, although he really wasn't that keen on electric instruments, especially electric piano. He's an acoustic instrument guy. Keith Jarrett, the second greatest jazz album I've heard in my life. To my understanding, this is the greatest selling jazz piano album of all time, or the greatest selling solo piano album of all time. If I'm incorrect, please correct me in the comments section below. Number 2 on the list, Keith Jarrett Cone Concert, the second greatest jazz album I've ever heard in my life. Now I'm going to get to the Keith Jarrett albums I have. I'm trying to go through these quickly. I have a few on CD. I wish I would have bought more out on CD. This is a Carnegie Hall concert Like I said, I have a few more on CD, and I wish I would have brought them out. This is called The Melody at Night with You. And this is the Cone Concert. This is an SHM SACD. And I may have a digital download of the Cone Concert on my Sony Z1ES player. I'm not sure. I got to check. Also, I have a digital download of Keith Jarrett, the Sun Bear Concerts. It's a digital download that I got from HD Tracks. It's a 10-album set, but HD Tracks has a 96 kilohertz 24-bit download of that 10 LP set. I have that on my Sony Z1ES high-res player. I just hadn't had time to listen to the whole concert. Now, the albums that I have, this is an organ album that sounds great on a nice stereo setup. Hymns and Spears. This is the best of Keith Jarrett. Please leave your comments about Keith Jarrett in the comments section below. What do you think of his playing and his playing style? He has this style where you can hear him vocalizing and harmonizing to the music he plays in real time. And a lot of people don't like it. I love it. I think it sounds great. It's very creative and very... it adds to the performance. Some of it, you know, the voicing that he adds to some of these performances. I love it. Some people don't, but I think it's fabulous. This is a collaboration work that features Keith Jarrett. This is called Staircase. I believe most of these are on ECM Records. Treasure Island. Like I said, please leave your comments about your opinion on Keith Jarrett as he compares to other jazz piano players, past and present. This sounds good in terms of soundstage. It's called Keith Jarrett Eyes of the Heart. There's a promo copy of it. Yeah, please leave your comments in the comment section below. This is Keith Jarrett. This is a highly regarded album. It's called Facing You. I might have to do a video on this album sometime down the line. And this is a 3 LP set. I believe it's 3 LP set. I paid a couple of dollars for it on ECM Records. The box, as you can see, is not in great condition. The albums themselves, fantastic. Mysteries by Keith Jarrett. I think I have a couple more. Keith Jarrett Concerts. This is a digital recording. And I think this is the last one. But please leave your comments on my selection of Keith Jarrett as the second best jazz album of all time in the comments section below. Like I said, these are personal opinion related. There's no right or wrong answer. My vision of jazz and my view of jazz may be different from yours, and we have to respect that. And yours is going to be different from mine, and I have to respect that. Like I said, there's no mandate or right or wrong answer. I just love that album, that improvisational work, that great improvisational work by Keith Jarrett, because I think that's tremendously difficult to do, and he pulled it off tremendously on the Keith Jarrett Cone Concert album. Please leave your comments in the comment section below. Thank you very much for viewing my video. God bless, strong love, and please keep the peace worldwide.